How to house train a dog. Today I'm going to give you a 5-step process, a step-by-step housebreaking process, if you will, for how to house train your dog. Now, successful housebreaking is by far the most important element of a loving, lifelong relationship between you and your dog. If you don't teach your new best friend not to pee and poop in your house, of course, he's not going to be your friend for very long. So here's the steps, one at a time, to how to housebreak your dog quickly and effectively. Number 1. First, determine where you want your dog to go potty. Now, it's best to pick a doggy toilet area that's relatively close to the door, so you and your dog don't have too far to go when he's got to go. Give the location some thought, because after he's trained, he will continue to use this place as his toilet. Now, this is convenient for cleanup, especially if you have a very large yard, and your family won't have to be wary of little, let's say, landmines when playing outside in the non-doggy toilet areas. Okay, step number 2. Know when your puppy needs to go. Until your puppy is trained to tell you when he needs to go outside, you have to be an expert, if you will, at deducing this. Sometimes a puppy will need to go within 5 minutes of just going, so don't assume you don't have to watch him just because he's gone potty. But to make you a better potty detective, here's some clues that will indicate that your dog really needs to go. Number 1, immediately after he wakes up. That's a good time for him to go. Number 2, immediately after letting him out of his crate or den. Every 30 to 60 minutes while he's awake based on his age. He may need to go after he eats or drinks. When he's been doing something for a while, like chewing on a toy, and then gets up and starts looking around. When he starts sniffing the floor. Another indication may be when he goes to an area where he's gone potty before. When he's running around and excited more than usual. When he's looking at or wandering near the door, that may be a good sign that he needs to go out. When he's pacing or whining or starts to squat. Now, naturally, when he starts to squat, you know it's coming. You need to get him outside quickly. So step number 3 in the housebreaking process. Keep your puppy under your constant and attentive supervision or confined to his crate when indoors. Now, it only takes a couple of seconds for a puppy to squat and pee, so you must watch him very closely. Don't stare at him, it'll make him nervous, but keep an eye on him at all times when he's out of his crate. This will be easier if you limit his movements, either by keeping him on a leash perhaps, or by restricting him to 1 or 2 rooms. Now, don't get distracted. Don't think you can watch TV, wash the dishes, or do something else and still watch your puppy. If you become distracted or preoccupied, accidents will happen, and this will make the housebreaking process more difficult, and it'll take longer. So it's your responsibility to take him outside when he needs to go. If you don't take him outside, accidents are your fault, not his. Step number 4. Take your dog to his designated toilet area every hour or when he needs to go, whichever is less. And also teach him to go on command. So here's how you do that. Every hour, fill your pockets with treats. Release your puppy from his crate and quickly take him outside to the designated toilet area. Encourage him to go quickly by enthusiastically calling him. If you take your time, he may pee or poop en route, so you need to do this in a hurry. Also, hurrying him along tends to jiggle his bowels and bladder so that he really wants to go the moment you let him stand still and sniff his toilet area. Now, use a leash, even if you have a fenced yard. Use a leash to lead him to the correct place. Now, stand quietly, don't stare at him, and wait until he begins to go. If he is staring at you instead of doing his business because he smells treats in your pocket, just look away and pretend to ignore him. Eventually, he'll start sniffing and preparing to go. When he does start to go, quietly, not loudly, you don't want to startle him, quietly say, "Go potty." Now, this is just an example of a phrase. You can choose any phrase you want, but associate it with his pottying. And of course, you and your family members need to use that phrase consistently over and over again for him to make that connection. Now, after your dog is finished, immediately give him a generous amount of tasty treats and lots of enthusiastic praise. Remember this: lavish rewards mean quicker results. Now, all of these steps are essential. If you just open the door and let your dog run out by himself to go potty, and then you give him a treat when he comes back to the house, his housebreaking will take longer and be less successful. Why? Because your dog will think he's getting the reward for coming back to the house instead of going potty, and you'll miss the opportunity to train him to go on command. Okay, the last step in this 5-step housebreaking process. Number 5. Spend time playing with or training your puppy. If you take him outside to go and then quickly bring him back in and ignore him after he does, he'll learn this: after I go, my fun ends. Consequently, he may become reluctant to go potty when he's outside and end up going inside instead because he can't hold it any longer. It is much better to praise your puppy for going potty, then perhaps take him for a walk as an extra reward for a job well done. This extra reward will also encourage him to go potty more quickly.